He said the best thing about his last race is that he doesn't have to sit across from you anymore. That's what he told me yesterday.
Oh, man.
All right, let's roll right into our post-race for tonight's 53rd annual IRWIN Tools Night Race, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Our race winner is Matt Kenseth. He drove the number $20 General Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. This was Matt's 29th career NASCAR Sprint Cup Series victory, his 5th win in 2013. That leads the Sprint Cup Series. It's his 3rd win at Bristol. And with this victory tonight, he assures himself of at least a wild card position in the 2013 chase. He's joined up front by his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, and president of Joe Gibbs Racing, J.D. Gibbs. Matt, congratulations. Very exciting race here tonight at Bristol. Held off Kasey Kahne there at the end and put on a great show for the fans. But talk about this win. This is a big win for you, obviously, as we get ready to set the chase field.
Yeah, it's a huge win for us. I mean, the Bristol Night Race is one of the biggest races of the year. It's one of the most fun races to win. It's been a while since we won one. So, man, it was a dramatic finish. So I really put Jason in a box by speeding on pit road, and so we had to do a strategy different. And because of that, my car got so tight and could barely hang on there at the end. So I'm glad we were able to pull it out. If we wouldn't have, it would have been totally my fault. So I was glad we were able to come back from that. Had a great car tonight. Had a great engine. Had just enough speed to hang on.
Jason, just talk about some of the things that you had to overcome here tonight. Obviously, that pit road speeding penalty didn't put you in a great spot, but you know, Matt had a great car, and you all did a good job getting it ready. But talk about how you all overcame that.
Well, we felt like we left something here in the spring. We felt like we had a good car here, had a shot. I mean, you never know how these things are going to turn out, but we were looking forward to coming back to Bristol. And getting another opportunity to do that. And we weren't as good as we hoped we would be when we unloaded or hit the track on Friday, but we made a lot of changes. Guys did a lot of good adjustments on the car. Car had some speed tonight, as Matt mentioned. He said he put me in a box. He put himself in a box and dug his way right out of it. He did a great job on 200+ lap right side tires. I told him we got our money's worth out of everything. His air conditioner quit, so we got our money's worth out of that one. Money's worth out of the tires. Maybe a half a gallon of fuel left there at the end. So everything worked out for us right to the end, and it was the same old Bristol dramatic finish right at the end.
And JD, just talk about this win tonight. It propels Matt up right now. If we set the chase field tonight, he'd be the #1 seed. But just talk about how this win has to boost the momentum for the 20. Certainly, as you look at the other cars over there, certainly the 18 is on the cusp of clinching a berth, and then the 11 was sitting on the pole here this weekend. So, but talk about this victory for the 20.
It's a huge deal, for Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole, and so I thought it meant a lot. And the best part, Matt just reminded me, we just saved $700 not putting right side tires on. So that was a good money saver. So. Huh? For two. You didn't know? Really? How much are they?
Won't tell you.
How much are
Definitely
they?
don't tell him how much they cost. We'll never get new tires.
I think that's being conservative. They're
more than that. More than that.
Hey, but man, they're high performance tires, man.
That's my. I'm the guy. I'm the Gibbs that actually cares about money. I'm like, spend it, whatever.
I'll attest to that.
Who's got the next question?
You teed it up.
First question, Jenna, and then we'll go to David.
Jennifer, AP. Matt, considering Kasey's feelings towards the Joe Gibbs Racing organization, but his reputation as a clean racer, how did you think that last 12 or so laps would go? Did you think that he would try to pass you cleanly, or were you worried about, if he got to you, what he might do?
Well, first of all, I only drive the 20, so I'm only responsible for what happens with that. But I knew it was going to be a hard race. We had a pretty good lead. and our car was getting real tight, and we ran down I think the 43 and the 17. I wasn't fast enough to go past them. If I would have went underneath them, Kasey would have went right around me and won the race. So I had to patiently wait, and thankfully they were really courteous and moved out of the way, moved down, and I was able to get around them. And then we were just going really slow. So to answer your question, I didn't know what would happen. The interesting thing about this track is there's only one really fast groove, and I knew I couldn't let them outside of me. So honestly, it was all out the windshield. I never even looked back. And the thing is, you can't race any different. I mean, if somebody decides to, run in the back of you or whatever, it's going to happen. So I mean, there wasn't really anything I could do different to guard against anything or change my line or take his away, because there was only one lane where my car ran good, so I just really had to look out the windshield and try to hit the marks the best I could. The only time I changed up was he almost cleared me in the 3 one time, and had to drive in really, really hard to make sure he couldn't get up in front of me, and that's when we kind of had that, rubbing together off of 4. There wasn't a lot of extra room there, so that was it was an intense race. Kasey's got a great reputation. He's a really hard racer, really talented, and he's also a really fair racer as well. So I was expecting it to be about like it was, but I really thought he was going to pass me. I thought he was going to be a little bit, I thought he had a good enough car to get around me there, and we had just enough to hang on.
It went on for like 12 or so laps.
Yeah, felt like 112. Yeah. I mean, when he got that run, I don't know how many laps to go, but when he got that run off of 2, and I was only to his door going into 3, and I knew he was going to drive in there hard and try to do a dirt track slide job and get up in front of me. If he would have cleared me there, it was lights out, done. And I just drove in there really hard, and the car stuck just enough to scrape up through there and be able to hold him off. But man, he would just eat me up through the middle of the corner and get under me real easy. So I was hoping, but the harder I tried, I felt like the slower I was going, so my car just kept getting tighter. So when he got there with about 8 to go, I knew we had our work cut out for us for sure.
David?
Yeah, David Newton, ESPN.com. For Matt, if the situation were reversed and you were in second, do you think you would have moved him out of the way?
No. I think I would have raced exactly the same, Man, I feel like you go out and race as hard as you can. I think every situation's different. I feel like I've always raced pretty much the same. I've made some dumb mistakes and probably out some smart decisions throughout your career. I mean, that's part of it. But I feel like if you I've been racing for a long time, and I feel like if you race people a certain way, 95% or more, you get that same respect back. So I mean, I think it's not about 1 week or 2 weeks or one thing. I think it's probably more about the however long he's been in the series in our history racing together. We've raced each other hard a lot of times, but we've always been, I feel like we've always been fair with each other.
Let's go over here to the far right to Mark.
Hey,
Raise
Dave,
your hand, Mark.
I think you're a good rider too.
Mark Garrow, PRN, over here in the corner, guys. Matt, 5 wins. 5 wins now.
There's 4 corners. That's why.
4 corners. Yeah, sorry about that.
I was going to get there eventually.
You're right, my left, I guess. 5 wins right now. When you start with a brand new race team, is this about all you can ask for at this point? You've clinched a spot in the chase. You've, at this point, have more bonus points than anybody else. There's just 2 races left before the final cut. When you move over to a new team, is this the best just about you can expect?
Well, man, I mean, it's what we all work for and what we hope for and what I dreamed about coming over there. But certainly, I think if you look at the beginning of the season, I think it was better than I ever could have dreamed of. I mean, we were qualifying up front every week. We were leading tons of laps in position to win races. We've been very fortunate and won some races. We also lost some. I thought we were in position to win for whatever. So it's been, honestly, sitting here in August, it feels like the year has been 2 years long with all the different things we've had happen, to our race team, just all kinds of different things. So the last month and a half, 2 months has been a little bit more of a, I hate to say reality check, 'cause I hope this is reality all the time, but we've struggled just a little bit more. Haven't quite had the speed. It's been a little bit more of a struggle. So it was really encouraging this weekend to get to the track, and all of our cars were really fast before qualifying. I know Kyle had a problem qualifying, but he had a real good car, and then had the speed to hang on there. So that was encouraging, and it is a very unique racetrack. But hopefully we can see that the next 2 weeks or the next 12 weeks when it really counts, and race them hard down the stretch.
Just wanted to follow up on the Kasey Kahne, trying to chase you down at the end. it used to be the bump and run was acceptable. If you bumped the guy, as long as he didn't go from first to 30th, he went, Jeff Gordon a couple times and Rusty Wallace. Would you have considered it less than clean or dirty driving if, say, somebody like Kasey had bumped you back to second place in the last lap? Is that no longer acceptable, or would it have been acceptable, again, as long as you didn't wreck?
Well, I mean, I think, like I said, I think every situation is different. First of all, the track, the way it's laid out, somebody else probably figured out, I'm not smart enough to do it. I'm not sure how you do it, because that guy, we're all running a foot off the fence. So you knock that guy loose, well, he's going to hit the fence. Well, you're right behind him a foot off the fence. Where are you going to go? So I'm not smart enough to figure out probably how to do it. So I would try to do it the right way and hope it turns out, in your favor. So saw a lot of hard racing tonight. I saw a couple guys, one of the cars went in and slid him and wasn't quite clear, and it made him mad, so he went back underneath him and did the same thing to him the next corner. So, I mean, that kind of stuff's been happening forever, and I'm certainly, you've seen through the years, somebody get moved out of the way one corner and not lose too much momentum and catch him and move him back out of the way to get him. But I think that was as hard as we could both race without wrecking.
Let's go to the press box. Go ahead, press box questions.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Kind of to follow up on Mark's question, but obviously Kasey probably feels like he owes you. I mean, he's tweeted about it that he owes the JGR guys and that you've raced him hard this year and things like that. And so, he had the chance if he had done it and he had moved you out of the way or wrecked you or whatever. Would you have considered that to be like, what, I had one coming, or that was a fair thing in that specific situation because he owed you, or is that still not part of the code?
Well, look, I think this whole thing's getting blown way out of proportion. I've never intentionally wrecked Kasey. The 9 car had a problem at Watkins Glen. I didn't know the 5 was outside of me. There was, the 9 had a problem going off the S's, so I jumped in the back of him and swapped lanes because he slowed way up and had a flat tire because he spun out the next thing, and it collected Kasey and Dale Jr. in a wreck. Sure, you can say it's my fault. Yeah, was it a mistake? Yeah, it was a mistake, but it's not like Kasey and I have this big history together of knocking each other away and wrecking each other and fighting. I mean, I've never had a problem with Kasey ever in the 8 or 9 years, however long he's been here, and I don't think he's ever had a problem with me. So I think it's getting a little bit blown out of proportion, but I will say that the only car you can drive is your own. And looked out the windshield and I raced as hard as I could race pretty much all night. And if somebody decides to run into you or to do something to you, there's not really a lot you're going to do about it. So there's no sense really getting distracted on that and slowing down. I just looked out the windshield and tried to make the best laps I could make.
Let's stay up in the press box. Go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Can you just talk about the kind of momentum that this win gives you this close to the chase, and what's your strategy for the 10 races once you get in there? Thank you.
Well, Jason would be the strategy guy. I don't
win.
I'm not always a huge believer in momentum as far as just looking at paper and looking at finishes, but I am a believer in momentum as far as performance, and I think that this weekend was huge for us. Even if we would have ran second and got beat at the end, I think it was still been a really, really, at least for me, it would have been a very encouraging weekend. It would have been a shot in the arm. I was like, man, we had all our speed back. We led some laps. We haven't really led multiple laps since Kentucky, really. So the whole weekend for me was really encouraging from a team standpoint. So hopefully that gets you momentum. I mean, it's the next 12 weeks are the most important 12 weeks of the season. So I feel like approach every race the same. Go out with the idea of trying to qualify the best you can and prepare like you're going to go try to win the race.
Back downstairs, any other questions? Back over here far left.
Mike Hember, USA Today. JD, Kyle had the problem early, came back, got a decent finish out of the night. Did you talk at all to him? Do you know what happened there early in the race, and what do you think of how the race turned out for the 18?
I didn't. I saw him afterwards and just talked just briefly, but obviously he was frustrated. But it was, my fear is like it could have been a lot worse. And so they kind of gathered it up, came back, and had a respectable finish. And so I think I was proud of those guys, what he and Dave Rogers did tonight.
Other questions?